Day 2 of experimenting with Little Windows resin, not ice resin. That's my level. Okay, here's one of yesterday's pieces. It came out beautiful. It had been, might look like there's a divot there, but there's not. It had been really rough, really messed up old piece. This is a piece came out really well, even though these are layers of paper that I had added in caustics and metal pieces and wire and what have you, and tissue papers too. And then on the back, what I did was add another layer of tissue paper for it to dry, and came out pretty good, considering that I did both sides at the same time, which I wasn't thinking, didn't mean to do that. This is from one of my silicone molds. I'm really pleased how this came out. I had created the mold from an old button, and this little flower popped out. It's just beautiful, so I'm making more today because I'm really excited about that. I also brought out some silicone molds that I had gotten inexpensively at the store, craft store at one time. I didn't use that one. I poured an owl, and I also poured sideways butterfly, and then I covered it with these little teeny like metal beads that you can get at the craft store. Those are silver, but I had some in multicolors. I finished my two open back bezels. I removed the tape this morning, and everything was just fine there. This particular one came out really nice. It has some, I placed a little owl in him and etc., some beads, and it domed up really nice, and that's the back. So we'll see what happens tomorrow when we see the front. And this is the back of the second one. The purple piece is, I cut out part of the foil from a wine bottle. Yes, I drank some wine last night. It was a lovely evening to do just that. Here's my cabochon in the mold, and I've added another layer today that is tinted with blue oil paint. So far so good. I still have room to work in there, and the bubbles are left on purpose in that particular piece. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 molds where I did only a 1-to-1 ratio of the little windows. I wanted to see, it is a 1-to-2 ratio. I did want to see if these will set up. They might not, but it's worth the experiment. This is the back of just some paper that I had resined on the front. It soaked right through. I did not prepare that paper ahead of time. I like how it soaked through, and I'll see what happens there. These are some little charms from Tim Holtz. It provides you with the little cut hearts, and you stick them inside, and then it provides you with these little clear stick-on bubbles that you could place on top. Well, I decided not to go with their stick-on bubbles, and I went ahead and dripped resin in, and it self-leveled and domed really nicely. I'm just waiting now for it to dry. So you can take a close look at that. And this piece came out really nice yesterday. It had a few rough edges on the surface itself from pieces that I had, added inclusions, and they stuck out and were kind of rough. So I added some resin today in a few spots. It did self-level for what little I put in it, and I may just leave it kind of bumpy that way. I may not. I haven't decided yet. That's that really, really thin piece of copper metal. You can see sideways here. It's not even a 1/4 of an inch thick, maybe an 1/8 at the very most. Here are some more molds that I did today, silicone molds. I did another one of the little flower because I thought that was really nice. Did a little moon man the way it turned out yesterday, and another kind of decorative piece. These are the backs of the flowers that I had put really clear tissue on, or thin tissue with lots of colors. They look like, wish I could think, they look like stained glass windows, so I wanted to cover the back of them. Again, the paper was not coated with anything. I just put the resin right on. And here's the back of the heart with the bird on it that I did yesterday, self-leveled, self-domed beautifully. The back of another piece that I did yesterday, and the back of several of the leaves. Here's the back of that piece that was dime size, a piece of tissue, just a plain piece of tissue. And it has domed nicely on both sides, and it is drying now. Try to get, there we go, a side view. Amazing, can't believe it, but it's a really pretty because it's so clear, and I'll have fun with that. These are my 2 copper or brass leaves. I said copper yesterday too, that I had patinaed with vinegar and potato chips, and they are doming and setting up really nicely. They'll be nice. I had curved the ends of them to hang them, so they'll be real pretty to work with. And this is the back of my leaf. It actually is a leaf that I had decorated on the front more than I did on the back, so that's setting up now too. So, a couple of the things that I found while I was doing this and experimented with was that I played with the resin, the second batch, so that it would sit in the cup for 50 minutes, almost an hour, and it was still workable, it was still pourable, it would still self-level and dome. So that was a long period of time to expect the resin to continue to be in a workable form. So I was really pleased with that. The other experiment that I did was doing the 1-to-1 ratio, and it's starting to set up, so I don't know, how that'll go. But if I could turn this silly thing around, I suppose I'd show you what I look like, but I really would rather not. It's one of those days with the hair up in the bun. So here's some of the stuff that I brought upstairs, some of my old notes and inclusions and pieces, parts. I did, again, continue to use and reuse the measuring cups, wash them, dry them, and bring them back upstairs, and the same with the little white wand that came with the kit. I didn't continue to wash my hands, though. I would just kind of wipe them off as I went along and lightly soap them, and because of that, I got a lot of sticky buildup on my hands, so it took a while to get my hands cleaned off, but that's okay. They cleaned up. So anyway, that's today's results. This is my little plastic piece of junk plastic, and I throw my toothpicks and used paper towels and what have you in it while I'm working. And I am working on white trash bags that I have split open and laid out. And this is an old plastic table cutter or meat cutter or whatever. I made sure that it was leveled, put some plastic down for my open bezels, and then just laid my silicone bezels on there, and they self-leveled and domed nicely because I had made sure that this piece was laying level on the table. So that's it for now, and later this afternoon I think I'm just going to let these all work their way by setting up and getting hardened and see what happens. And I will also check on the 1-to-1 ratio pieces here because I'm curious. I don't know if they'll work or not. Those bezels are only half full, so you won't be able to see a doming effect just now. Anyway, I'll be back next chapter, whatever. Bye.